last half hour, we've been, of course, trying to decode the voter turnout, the bumper voter turnout, anti-incumbency favouring or pro-incumbency, and also the micro-detailing, Rajdeep, of the Mahila youth factor. Where do you stand on it?
Before that, I must say, Rajdeep, the OG of election coverage. There's nobody who can come close to you, sir. I've seen you since 2005, and it's been 20 years. You continue to enamor, and there's always a lesson every time you're on ground zero.
No, you're being very kind, Maria. By the way, you saw me when I had already become middle-aged. आपने हमको हमारी जवानी में देखना चाहिए था. ये तो आप 2005 की बात कर रहे हैं. Ironically, the first election I did for TV was Bihar 1995. The first election I ever did was...
Rajdeep, Javed is also with us. Javed is also with us, and he's saying he remembers you in your Javani.
That's right.
Rajdeep, we go back a long time.
Achha, chalo. And 1988 was the first election I covered, which was an interesting one, 88-89, a municipal election where the BJP and Shiv Sena came together for the first time. So much water has flowed under the bridge. But to answer your question about this turnout, I've been looking at history. If you look at history, there have been 5 elections that have been won by the party in the opposition when the turnout in Bihar has gone up. So this would suggest to some that a high turnout usually indicates anti-incumbency. The last time this happened in a way was 2015, but that was a unique election where Nitish and Lalu came together to take on the might of the BJP and won. There is no empirical evidence in this country to suggest that high voter turnouts suggest anti-incumbency or low voter turnout suggests pro-incumbency. All that used to be talked about 30 years ago. It no longer is. I think what you have is a much more empowered electorate, an electorate that actually does believe that their vote makes a difference. What is true of India is the more affluent you are, the less inclined you are to vote. So a Malabar Hill, for example, in Mumbai doesn't vote as much as, let's say, a distant suburb of Mumbai or even Dharavi will vote. In Bihar, I think, if you look at these numbers, you will see that in rural areas in particular, people have come and voted in large numbers. Patna has among the lowest voter turnout, 55%. But just go into rural Bihar and the voter turnout is all exceeding 70%. Now, it's clear that women have come out in large numbers, but so have men. You see, what is making this election complicated, it's not as if only women have come out in large numbers. Men have come out in large numbers, Yuva have come out in large numbers. If the exit polls of the likes of Pradeep Gupta...
We've detailed what you're speaking of into the Mahila vote, which traditionally stands with the NDA, and what has been projected by Pradeep Gupta's numbers, a 4% advantage there to the NDA. The youth, especially where it comes down to 18 to 29 age group, a 19% advantage to the Mahagathbandhan. Who do you think will prevail between the two?
Look, my own belief is youth also includes women. So it's not that everyone between the age of 18 to 29 is male. That's one thing that's very clear. I believe that the youth vote tends to be a little more split. And we've seen that in the past because the youth, some are very angry and therefore because of lack of jobs may well vote against the government. Some are restless. But there are also youth that we've seen who tend to vote along caste identities. There is some evidence to suggest that when it comes to women, there is an increasing possibility of gender trumping caste. It may not be immediately visible, but if you look anecdotally as well as through empirical evidence of 2015 and 2020, when there were when women voters really asserted themselves, go back actually to 2010, Nitish Kumar could not have won 2010 with the kind of majority he did, over 200 seats, unless gender and indeed other issues trumped caste. In 2015, there was a backward consolidation versus forward. In 2020 is where we saw splintering on all counts. Now, is 2025 mirroring 2020 as some opinion polls suggest? My own view is because women have shown an inclination to vote for Nitish Kumar to a greater extent than his competition, Nitish Kumar stands to gain from a higher woman voter turnout. Let me add one last point there. Just go through all the elections of the last 10 years. Barring Arvind Kejriwal in Delhi earlier this year, which is a small city state, every election where the women have voted for one side has tended to be the winning side. You just have to go through the history of the last 10 years. And when there is an 8.8% higher woman turnout, and actually even in absolute numbers, 4.5 to 5 lakh more women have voted, I would be tempted to suggest that that Mahila vote is what gives the NDA confidence today. And it is really that 10,000, I maintain, that made a huge difference in a state like Bihar. Now, Yuva have also come out to vote in large numbers, so have the migrants. But our polls seem to suggest that that vote has not gone to Prasanth Kishore. Had Prashant Kishore got a larger chunk of vote, then this election becomes even more interesting. And I think we will have to wait and see whether that happens. The other, one more point, Muslim women, Yadav women, by all indications, are voting for the Mahagathbandhan. There is no gender there. It is, I think, beyond the frozen caste identities where the churning takes place in Bihar, Dalits, EBCs, non-Yadav OBCs. That's where I believe the woman vote will make a difference this time.
Rajdeep, stay with us. Maria is going to take us through the next set of data. Go ahead, Maria.
And it's interesting, Rajdeep, as you point out, that caste remains frozen in the context of Bihar. So when it is 43% vote share, which is being projected by Access My India for the NDA, it is clearly coming from the fact that Chirag Paswan, who was not with NDA in 2020, has shifted this side, and he is making that contribution of 6%. Just as Tejashwi Yadav-led Mahagathbandhan is going up from 37% that they had in 2020 to 41% now because of the contribution that is coming in from VIP party and also IP Guptas. Let's look at this. It becomes important because, we have been talking about Nishads in particular and the Teli. Those two groups, it was largely sensed that they will turn towards Mahagathbandhan because of the announcement of the Deputy Chief Minister in Mukesh Sahni. Look at the percentage which is going towards the NDA. So it is very clear that even despite that announcement, Mahagathbandhan is still not able to move, dent significantly in that group, which is roughly around 4%. So this is the breakdown which is being projected. Again, this 5% which is coming in from the Paswans, consolidating, this is Chirag Paswan factor, firmly with the NDA at 64%. We have been talking about the Ravidas. Rajdeep was talking about the Mahadalits. This again is a factor which is, not much of a gap between the two. It's just 4%. Ravidas in all are standing at 5%. As expected, 68% Kurmis with Nitish Kumar firmly because he comes from that caste. Let's look at another set of slide here. This is again, as we have been looking at the big picture, the Brahmins as expected to go with the NDA. This again, Koiri Kushwaha, 4%. We are looking at the larger from the EBC. We have brought down these groups further broken down because the EBCs in Bihar, which is the extreme backward classes, are around 26%, minus the 10%, which is of the Pasmanda Muslims, which is the backward among the Muslims, which is again a constituency which was created by Nitish Kumar when he came to power for the first time in 2005. So again, if you look at the numbers, not much of a surprise. Caste remains frozen in Bihar. It's largely the factor of the Mahila and the Yuva. Rajdeep, so I'll bring you again here. Okay, again, let's take a look at some more smaller parties. We have been talking about them. Is there some further split among them? So just look at this number. MIM did well, particularly in the Simanchal belt in 2020. They won 5 seats, of which 4 MLAs had switched to the Mahagathbandhan after the victory. And their projected vote share this time around is going to be 5%. Jan Suraj somewhere around 4%.
There's an error there. I think it has to be switched. It was 5% in 2020 and 1%
and then 1%
projection.
here.
That's
so when we look at the VIP again, it's in 2020. Remember, VIP was with the NDA. This time they are with Mahagathbandhan. They are likely to win somewhere between the same number of seats 3-5. Preeti, over to you. But before that, let me ask a quick question to Rajdeep. And then, Rajdeep, you know, caste remains frozen. So it's clear that despite all the calculations, Tejashwi Yadav is not able to move beyond the traditional caste groups, despite that experiment that he had in naming the Deputy Chief Minister in Mukesh Sahni.
You see, caste is frozen and yet not frozen. Let's be very clear and let me explain how. 2015, Nitish Kumar, when he aligned with Lalu, the caste groups that were supporting him also shifted with him and were happy to join hands with Lalu Prasad. No one spoke then of Jangal Raj. You just mentioned someone who's an interesting figure. Indrajit Prasad Gupta, or IP Gupta as he's known, and his party, the Indian Inclusive Party, IIP, sounds very well. Now, his claim has been that he wants a separate quota, possibly within the scheduled caste, if not among the EBCs, for his Tanti Pan community, a quota within a quota. It's a small community. Some figures give it about 1.5, maximum 2%, but it's spread out over a large part of the Gangetic Plain. These are people who grow vegetables. Now, someone like IP Gupta, can he bring his vote bank with him? Because every 1% adds up. Okay. When you're looking at the Axis My India poll, the gap is only 2%. If
Rajdeep,
IP Gupta can bring his caste group with him...
And you can come in right in 20 seconds, because waiting for us, and he's on a clock, is another Gupta ji. IP Gupta might not be projected very well in the figures that we see in terms of the vote percentage, but Pradeep Gupta will hope that he has his numbers on the ball, on the dot, when tomorrow that last vote is counted. Pradeep Gupta, welcome to India Today. Thank you for joining us. I know, you're on multiple channels. Every slot is booked for you. But first up, Pradeep Gupta. I'll ask you one question. Rajdeep Maria, do come in next. But Pradeep ji, yesterday you had said, when I had asked you, what is a bigger possibility? The lower limit in terms of seat share of what the NDA you have projected, and the higher limit of the MGB, or the other way around? You said mean lelo, 108 MGB, 130 NDA. Do you still stand by that?
Yes, I do stand by that. And the possibility we are discussing here, so I would quote 5 by 95, 5 for the 121 and 95 for 141. It will be somewhere between these things. And most importantly, where it can go up and where it can go down. This time, at least, we have one simple calculation, which is, if Prasanth Kishore secure more than 4% or more than 6% vote, then this 121 is quite possible. If he secure 2%, half of what we projected, then 160 plus is quite possible. Let me put it this way. For NDA, 160 plus for NDA in that scenario.
Rajdeep, Maria?
Now, what happens, yes, Mr. Gupta, if Prashant... No, my point is, what happens, Pradeep Gupta, if Prashant Kishore actually polls more than what you have suggested? Because he's a new party, and predicting the vote share of a new party is injurious to health. What happens if he gets 8 or 9%? You're giving him 4 to 5%. What if he gets 8 to 9%? Then what happens and why?
Then, yeah, that's what I'm saying. If in that case, NDA tally will be somewhere near to my lower tally, which is 121 seats. And why I'm coming to that? Because large chunk, whatever he's likely to secure the votes, so whatever 100 votes comes, is coming from 70 up to 75% coming from NDA caste group, which is the Bhumiyar, Rajput, Brahmins. This is coming from. So this is the precisely reason why the moment Prasanth Kishore start scoring high, it is more denting to the NDA, less to the Mahagathbandhan. In fact, benefit for the Mahagathbandhan, because MY, which is the larger constituency for the Mahagathbandhan, holding 32% of that chunk, the MY chunk, only 1 and 2% is likely to get among those community. Only 1 to 2%, and the Muslim 2% is also from that Jokihat.
Can I?
Which one is where the Muslim candidate is contesting, and that is the one seat which is you can say that is likely to win.
No, the reason I'm pushing you on that, if I look at Prashant Kishore's candidate list, he actually gave tickets to all communities. He didn't give tickets only to upper caste. He actually tried to make himself lead a rainbow coalition, as he called it. Extremely backward caste, Dalits, Muslims, Yadavs, all given tickets. You're telling us that Prashant Kishore is only getting his votes from upper caste, irrespective of who his candidate is. Am I correct?
No,
Largely from upper caste.
you are partially correct. I am not adding word only. You are adding word that only. I am saying larger votes is coming from the Bhumiyars, Rajput, and upper caste. Larger, I only know.
Pradeep ji, my question would be about your
Okay, so
projection
you're
with
saying-
regards
yeah,
to
go
the
ahead.
Yuva. Please go ahead.
Pardon?
Yes, my question would be with regards to the Yuva percentage which you have projected. It's
Yeah.
coming to roughly around a gap of 15%, going up to 16 as well in certain age groups, 18 to 19 to 20 to 29.
No. See, you'll have to see
So
the
are you sensing?
representation.
Yes.
No.
So my question is,
I'll try and explain you and your viewers also how to
Yes.
read this data, particularly age group. You have to see the representation value as well. So if you see 18 to 19, which is the first group, only representation is 2%.
2%, right?
2%. So there you see the gap of about 9 percentage point. 9. It's not that ki NDA is not getting any vote. 37 to 46. Now coming to 20 to 29, where that represents 22% of the total chunk, the total vote cast. 22%, where the gap is much narrowed down, 44 to Gathbandhan and 37 to NDA. Then you have rest of the age group, which is 30 plus, which contributes 76% in all these age group where NDA is
Okay.
getting large.
Pradeep
So
ji,
this
one
is
final
how-
question before we let you go. One final question before we let you go, which will, once again, I'll come back to that point. You are saying that the fate of Mahagathbandhan tomorrow lies on how well Prashant Kishore does. And that is
Yes.
the only scenario. The only
No,
scenario
that's not
in
the
which...
only scenario.
Tell
That's
us the
not
other
only
scenarios there.
scenario.
Because you seem to suggest...
Another scenario is definitely
Yes.
there, which is the incremental voter turnout. Now, 10 percentage points last time 57 to this time approximately 67 is too big a number. Now, this is happening first time ever. And Prasanth Kishore phenomena or the party is also emerging first time ever. These are the two very facts. We do not have the historical, we call it algorithm available to us. And these are the two things we don't know. This 4% or 10 percentage point incremental vote. What is the combination of that incremental vote? I am talking about the youth. I am talking about the caste. I am talking about the Mahila is very well known. I mean, that there is no problem for Mahila to gauge whether this 10% incremental, how much Mahila is there. Mahila is given by the election commission also. So that is easier to calculate in our calculation. So this is what is my submission. And thank you, Preeti. You are wearing today our Axis My India house color purple.
Sir, I'll wear it tomorrow also if your
Pradeep,
numbers are right.
Gupta,
Yeah.
Pradeep Gupta has put an escape clause. He has given today the alibi. In case his numbers are wrong, and I'm not saying they will be, in case they are wrong, it's because they misread the turnout. Am I correct, Pradeep? That is the only real scenario, the composition of the turnout. If Yuva have come in larger numbers, the Mahagathbandhan has some kind of a chance. If they have not, then it's game, set and almost match to NDA. Am I correct broadly?
Broadly, yes. And second is the Prasanth Kishore thing, because that is also first time ever, right? So that is also another point. And Rajdeep, you particularly, Rajdeep Sardesai particularly, has to decide how and when to call poll right or wrong. That is very important. If
I will call it. You have given such a
I'll
broad
tell you,
range this time.
Rajdeep, there are cases, and I mean, whatever suits to, I say, whoever the commentator is. Now, you tell me how it is fair to say that BJP was projected to get 400 seats and they secured 240 seats. Arey bhai, NDA was projected 370 to 400 seats, and NDA secured the 293 seats. How this is fair to say so? And NDA formed the government where the other, then you say horribly wrong. What is this analogy, horribly wrong? I do admit when we are horribly wrong, which is the Haryana election. We are horrible. Not a single.
Okay, I'm going to leave it there.
I'm telling you.
Preeti, Maria,
Now,
you
I'm
can take
telling
it
you,
over.
if we have projected 141 for the NDA, and if NDA secure 160 plus, you will say Pradeep Gupta is wrong.
Chaliye, Pradeep ji, I know you have other channels to go for.
No, I won't say that.
You have other channels to go for. So what Rajdeep, more or less, Pradeep ji said is, it's NDA's game, set and match, but two caveats, two factors. One is Prashant Kishore and the other one is voter turnout, which has been unprecedented.
Yes. All right.
Let's leave it at that. Thank you for joining us. We're going to go into a quick break. Back. Yes, go ahead, Rajdeep. Make your point. Make your point, Rajdeep.
Make your point,
There is a
Rajdeep.
song.
We love to hear
There is
you.
a song.
We love to hear you.
Rote hue. You know, Pradeep Gupta and I have a love for Hindi music. Pradeep Gupta के लिए गाना रोते हुए आते हैं सब हंसता हुआ जो जाएगा वो मुकद्दर का सिकंदर. Because you see, he's either going to cry tomorrow or he's going to laugh. But मुकद्दर का सिकंदर है. Who knows what tomorrow
going to dance
brings.
with Rajdeep Sardesai.
अच्छा ना.
Pradeep ji, now you have to answer.
Okay, I will do it.
You have to answer. 1 second, Rajdeep. Let him also rebut in a song. जाते जाते क्या rebuttal होगा गाने पे?
अरे गाने पे रीबटल क्या होगा? जो राजदीप ने कहा सही है, हकीकत. That's the I mean truth of the life कि रोते हुए हंसते और हंसते हुए जाएंगे और हंसते हुए प्रदीप गुप्ता जरूर जाएगा. This much I can tell you for sure.
Arey sir, nobody is going anywhere. We will see you tomorrow.
I'm blessed by God that I have never ever had any kind of problem whatsoever. Whenever I feel bad, we could have done better. That is where I feel, some kind of a disappointment. Otherwise, I have no problem at all.
Chaliye sir, we'll see you in all your colors, purple especially tomorrow. Thank you for joining us.